Hey friends, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm the Trans Monster, and we are doing a speed build in The Sims 4 yet again. However, this one is the third and final of my Discord server challenges. So this one is got the coastal townhome inspiration. Even though we're building in Nordhaven, I feel like it still has a little bit of that coastal vibe, being near the waterfront and all of that. But anywho, it is a little bit on the bigger side, and this is a shell on the gallery as well if you'd like to join in the build challenge. You don't have to be part of the server, but the link is in my description to join that as well, and I'll have kind of the challenge guidelines listed below too, so you can follow along. But I will be touring these builds too if there's enough of them and interest in that on my channel in its own video, probably early to mid-September. But yeah, I had fun with this one. Very summery, still trying to soak up the last little bits that I can. And all these units are going to be different sizes as well. So there is a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom here. And I believe they all have 2 bathrooms, but one of the units might even bump up to 3. So yeah, it was definitely a doozy. And the one in the middle there has the 3 balconies on it, although there isn't much space. It's more just like a step out and look out at the scenery and the view kind of thing. But it fits the vibe. And these decorative pieces found in, I believe, the roofing, like the chimney icon, were like the finishing touch on the whole look I wanted to go for here. I am starting to get into the floor plans. I do take into consideration that there are only windows on the back and fronts of these, so we have to be smart in how we lay the floor plan out so that there aren't too many rooms without windows in them. And I also plan it so that if there are any rooms that don't have a window, it would be a bathroom, because in my head that makes a little more sense. You can always attach one of those fans for better circulation, and the likelihood of a fire in your washroom in real life at least is pretty slim. In The Sims 4 it gets a little bit more risky if you get a little eco-friendly with your plumbing systems and turn your toilets into the compostable ones with the upgrade. But other than that, I'm also pretty happy with the size of kitchen and living space that these units got considerably. They are a little bit tight, but I made it work, and I kind of prefer the closed in areas a little better. I find them a little less intimidating to decorate, and they definitely look more lived in if you are into that feel, which I am. I like my homes to have like that. I don't want to be bland and boring to say it, but homey touch, the little bit of mess laying around and clutter that maybe could have a better home, but for now that's where it lives in the house, and everyone just accepts it and it adds character. So I make the colors of the homes definitely match the decorative pieces on the tops of the build. They do have different swatches too. These ones are the ones that I picked because they were still kind of on the neutral side, but had that pop of color for summertime. The light pink and orange tones are definitely something I associate with summer, coral, and yeah, all of that. I played around with the lighting a little bit in each build. They don't all match per se, because I feel like once people have bought the homes, they've customized them a little bit to their own taste. So that's why you'll see the the tone and the brightness in each build is slightly different. I wish there was a little bit more consistency with that in The Sims without having to use a mod like Tool to adjust the light fixtures and how much brightness they give off. But at least we have a workaround. I didn't really use it here, but I mean, it is an option if you like some of the other light choices I had and chose not to go with because of the yellowness or overly white brightness that they gave off. Although I do stick with them in some of the builds because aesthetic overall won out for the light fixtures. But I will say that some of the newer packs are really giving me the best light fixtures I've ever seen. The modern gold finishes, the waviness. I'm liking it lately. I keep saying that more and more, it feels like, but I just almost seems like the EA team is just listening to what we want at this point. They're like, okay, you want horses? Done. You want high school years? Done. You want businesses? Done. You want ferries? Let's do it. Apartments? Check. It just, maybe they're not exactly how we want them. They have their bugs, their quirks, and maybe we consider them not the quality that we would like, but to each their own, I say, in their opinion. And I'm just gonna appreciate what we're getting because I'm happy to have new stuff, not gonna lie. I am a completionist in The Sims, so I like to get all the packs. I like to have more aesthetic to build with and items that change up how things look, because when you build as much as I do, you repeat use items and it gets stale and boring. So anytime I can get new stuff to play around with, I'm kind of here for it. And as long as the packs work for the most part, I don't have too many complaints. I know like For Rent's definitely been buggy for people, but overall I don't have that many issues with it, so I'm not joining in the complaining party. Same with like Fairies. I'm gonna admit I'm not gonna be doing a whole lot of gameplay, and I don't know if it's broken or not, so I'm totally here for the fairy bag just because I love anything green and planty. So yeah, it checks off boxes for me there, and that's all I can ask for. So yeah, I'm happy with what we're getting. And like the base game updates, like these floor tiles for the bathroom, I love those hexagon shapes, and that was just like a base game update in the last, I want to say, 2 years. It's still pretty new, or time's eluding me a little bit, either or. And I'm just gonna throw out there that the blue tiles I used in this particular unit's bathrooms are just adorable. I want them in my own bathroom in real life, which if you've been watching some of my more recent videos, you would know I am moving into my forever home, probably. Fingers crossed that nothing changes and it's not my forever home, but that's the plan. And I will be able to do renovations like that for the first time ever, because I've always, rented or lived in my parents' house or my partner's parents' house. So it's just going to be a different experience this time, and I'm so here for it. I think actually, now that we're talking about it, this unit in general is my favorite, even though it ends up being the only one I don't fully furnish, because I have it set to where your Sims can come live in it. Although I'm second guessing that now, because I'm adding quite a bit of furniture here, unless I go back and delete it. But sometimes I do that because I'm trying to show that this unit does have space to live in. Although I'm thinking I did create Sims to live here. I did fill out the household in 2 of the homes, so remembering which ones maybe I'm hazy on, but this one definitely has a little bit more of that Scandinavian vibe, which I think is perfectly okay given that we're located in Nordhaven, and it's almost to be expected because that's the style of the place we're playing in, but I mean, it can be changed up, and I don't do that here, but I like how the staircase breaks it up to where it's a little bit more closed living, but not entirely, because you still have that opening on either side, so the noise would travel a little bit, but would be broken up to some extent and give that illusion of privacy. Mom can maybe go escape in the kitchen while kids are unwinding in front of the TV for a little bit. I also played around a little bit with the wall colorings here, and I'm liking that oaky baseboard color. I called it baseboard. I'm blanking on the name, but there's an actual name for the type of wood that I'm thinking of, and I'm just liking that it breaks up the excessive whiteness of the wall paint. I did paint all the units just white to make it simple, but I did kind of give them accents here and there, like the gray walls in the middle unit. It kind of ties in again the exterior of the builds, although I was keeping in mind that this is a Summery themed build, so I was trying to keep my interior design somewhat light and airy as well. I used a lot of blues and greens and natural wood tones, but I definitely have some pops of color throughout as well. So I also don't use that wine glass painting that often, especially in that color choice. So I am happy to know that that differentiates this build from the rest of them, which is something that I am actively trying to do, because if I don't, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to get repeat items like no tomorrow, and we don't want all our homes looking the same in a save file, because we're looking for the different characters to liven up our world a little bit, and those different characters have different styles and tastes in interior design, so we have to show that in our builds and make them different, which, fingers crossed, I am doing somewhat decently well. I'm gonna toot my horn a little bit and say that I think I am, but you guys can definitely be better judges of that, a little bit less bias on your answering system, that's for sure. I'm definitely going to commit and say that this is one of the units that I have Sims living in, because we're just going a little hard on the clutter at this point. So I'm going to guess that it's going to be the far unit on the other side that I leave empty, because I have this inkling that I did that. I now remember putting in that hot dog picture. I think I was inspired when I put the wine glass downstairs to go more of this like poppy vibe throughout the home, this young, maybe Gen Z, that's the one, right? Yeah, because I'm kind of in the middle of millennial and Gen Z. I'm in that weird few years where it was the turning of the century, or, whatever. Maybe not quite, but that's why I'm saying I'm kind of on that borderline. Maybe I'm thinking I'm younger than I am, or, not accepting my actual generation, but who knows? I'm not going to disclose or ask your opinions on that one, because I'm at a loss, and I don't really need to fit into either or. I'm just out here doing life. Those blue tones carrying upstairs a little bit. I feel like this is very coastal. Like, I would be ready to get dressed for the beach living in a home like this. I am severely disappointed in the Seasons wall art there. I wish it was a little less obnoxiously bright and out there in its swatches, but it isn't. So we didn't go with that, and I picked one of the pictures from the Love Struck pack instead. It had more of that toned down coastal feel that I was going for. And this kids' room as well is pretty mellow in its color scheme. They definitely have their parents' influence in their style here. Lots of toys to play, and just showing that this is kind of maybe a little girl's room, even though she's got like more less girly colors or items. Like, she's very neat and particular, I would say, because her toys aren't laying all over the floor. Although I guess boys can be like that too. I just, in my experience, there are not many. So yeah, and then of course the little fun rugs. I was trying to find the perfect one here. I ended up going very plain and boring, and I decided to bring some more fun art onto the walls to dress this room up a little bit and make it seem less sterile, honestly, because it did have that look to it. I do put laundry in these units. I am still actively trying to make laundry a thing in my save file, where the homes that I feel like would have it, and then the homes that don't, I am trying to put laundry hampers if I am furnishing to where there's a sim living there, and then it's forcing them to have to go do their laundry at a laundromat. Or sometimes in an apartment building, I will make like a community space, have a little laundry room. This here would be the parents' room of the build, so more of the fun colors. Actually, I'm lying. It is the teenage daughter's room, because the parents had the light blue toned room downstairs, and this daughter, I remember decorating it going, God, I wish I was this teenage daughter, because she has this whole upstairs floor all to herself with like this little desk area, a little library, her little arts and crafts decorative table there. She's got the digital sketch pad, so she's going to be a little artsy of a sim. But yeah, and then downstairs is her sister's room and her parents. So some finishing touches on this unit, and then I believe we have one more unit to decorate, and I leave the third just as a shell. I don't even know what I did at this point of this voiceover. I'm blanking like it never happened, but it has been a little bit of a wild ride this week, so I'm gonna blame that a little bit, in that I almost lost my computer because it decided to glitch out in its startup process, and I had to fix it. But yeah, that was fun. So we're gonna find out together if I furnish these homes like someone's living here. I do really strongly feel like I do this middle home, and it's starting to look that way. So we're gonna commit and say that I did it like I feel like I did. And actually, yes, because there's going to be a teenage boy here, and as I was designing it, like, obviously the neighbor teenagers are gonna have a love story, and it's gonna be romantic, even though they are kind of polar opposites. She's got this very cutesy demeanor, and he has this kind of tough, I'm a lonely, mysterious, dark teenage boy, and you gotta figure me out first kind of thing. So yeah, I'm a sucker for those kinds of storylines. I also have to admit that I like this living room a smidge better. I had to try a little harder in this one to bring in that summery beachy feel, because it was very dark in its flooring and the black accent walls. Even in the exterior, it's the darker of the three homes, so it doesn't have that same brightness that you think of when you think coastal home, whereas the one on the left there, very pink and blue, it's just kind of what you expect. Obviously this family has a cat. I think I do leave their litter box out on the balcony. Not the most aesthetic thing or functional thing in real life, because you would have to go open the door for your cat all the time to go to the litter box, and then I don't know about you, but I'd have the fear that the cat would want to jump off the balcony all the time. So yeah, I really had a strong hope that I could do those eco lifestyle wood panels along the mirror wall that I have in the living room, but it didn't work how I wanted, and as soon as I placed the item, it just blended right in with the mirror. So unfortunately, I mean, I could have used Tool to tweak it around, but I wasn't that committed. And when I'm doing a big build like this, honestly, it usually hits a certain point where I'm like, I need this to be over. It's such a big build now. But yeah, that's also why I give myself some grace, and I don't furnish all the units to be lived in. I also like to personally have homes where I can move a new sim into, and the home is kind of done for me, but I now have to decorate it according to the sim that I'm starting out fresh with. And sometimes when I download a home from a gallery, which, let's be honest, I don't really do because I build all my homes, but if I move into a home that I've previously built, I do tend to delete all the furniture that I've placed there before with different sims in mind, because it doesn't necessarily fit the Sims preferences, especially now that they have likes and dislikes, and color schemes can matter, and furniture choices can matter, and then obviously like your skill building items. So it just yeah, I decide to call them furnished shells, because for the most part it is furnished, but it is still a shell for you to move in and have some free range with. The family that I have living in this home here, I decked it out in the jewelry Crystal Creations kit stuff, or stuff pack. It's not a kit, it's a stuff pack, because I wanted I think I decided on the father being the jewelry maker, but it might be the mother. I'm a little hazy in remembering. I did make the Sims already though, so we will have those answers soon as the videos come out, honestly, which won't be too far along this one, because I tend to put those out one after each other so they're not separated and you're like, wait a minute, where does this family even live? I was playing with some different items here in the teenage son's room, like that Strangerville truck piece that was on the wall for a second, but it seemed a little out of place here, so I just went with like your typical teenage boy posters on the wall. I gave him a guitar, a gaming computer, all the things that a teenage boy could ever want or need. More posters for him, probably like the games that he's into, or maybe some movies that he has watched. And then we had to give him some beanbag chairs, because again, we're showing that this is a teenage boy living here and they like beanbag chairs. Honestly, I liked beanbag chairs as a teenager. I might even go for one now as an adult, although I'd have to experience it to answer that for sure. I haven't tried to get out of a beanbag chair in a very long time, and that could be a little bit of a mission nowadays. And I have enough missions on my hand with a 2-year-old running loose half the time. So keeping my missions minimal and not adding to them is ideal. To be honest, I'm going to admit that remembering to add pets sometimes slips my mind. So I'm going to say that there are far less pets in this save file than I anticipated, because I expected to give almost every household a pet. But when we're creating them, I'm just not thinking of it. I am also, sorry for saying also lots today, but I'm going to pop back into the style of this kitchen and say yellow just seems like the perfect kitchen color to me. I don't know if it's because lemons are yellow and I really associate lemons with the kitchen. One, because they're used in lots of recipes, but two, because I feel like there's lots of lemon scented soaps and candles that when I get possession of them, I'm always like this is for the kitchen. It's just that scent that I'm like, yes, lemons mean kitchen. So a yellow kitchen, I just absolutely fell in love with the idea of, and because it's got that summery theme, like it felt perfect. It's that pop of color. This one, I'm going to let you know, I do not decorate. I am at this point just putting in some items to see how they would look and fit, and making sure that I didn't spread out too far on the kitchen, because I will want you to be able to easily decorate this when it becomes your build and future home one day. So don't forget to download it after this one, obviously. This last little addition that I'm putting in, I am going to have like this little attic area, and it's just going to be a little workout room. I really could only fit the treadmill and a little record player, but this is kind of like the dad's escape, I guess, or maybe the son sometimes pops up there. But I wanted a little bit extra character on the outside, so that was the main reason I added that room, because it kind of finished the look for me a little bit. It gave me this idea to add a little bit of roof in the center. It just changed the look up of the build even just a little bit, and made it look like I put all this extra effort in, which I didn't necessarily. And it also kind of made me feel better about the lack of landscaping that I did, because I kept it very minimal. I actually ended up putting in a pool on the side, just fenced in. I felt like it took up enough space that it gave me reason to not have to landscape. I think I threw in a couple trees, and I made sure to obviously give them like a little garbage area and all of that. But, you know, nothing crazy, nothing that involves too much work. They've got the barbecues out back, which maybe you'll wish I didn't put there, because Sims and their barbecues, like, I am living in an apartment unit that I built on one of my videos already in my own personal gameplay. It's my San Sequoia apartment building, and the amount of rotten food outside by the barbecue is actually ridiculous. Like, I can't keep up with cleaning it, and it just drives me so nuts. And now I've got a ghost coming into my apartment and baking cakes all the time, so my counter is always filled with cakes. I can't escape it. It's maybe the next patch list. EA team, you want to make ghosts bake less cakes and residents of apartment buildings use the barbecue just a little bit less excessively, and that would be amazing. Those are my complaints here, okay? I do it, let's be real. I've got my things too that I want fixed. But anyway, we're not going to get into all of that, because we're getting into the screenshots kind of walkthrough of my build, and I'm going to let you enjoy that without my rambling voice. So thank you so much for being here and watching along. It means the world that you're interested to listen to me talk or build or whatever is making you stick around. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, keep showing that support, and most importantly, have an amazing rest of your day. Bye, guys.